Hi, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Inspiring Leaders and Leadership. My name is Smiti. I'm your host, and I'm the founder of Advantage Club, which is a global employee engagement, recognition, rewards, and community platform. Today, we have another amazing person with us right here. So, we have Manvi Bhalla, who is the Associate Director HR of Compunnel. Welcome, Manvi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Smiti. It's my honor to be here.
The honor is ours, Manvi. So, Manvi, of course, we have interacted in the past and we know all about you, but we'd love the viewers to also know a little bit about yourself. So, can you start by talking about your background, what you do, and of course, your journey as a leader in the HR space?
Sure, Smiti. So I actually have almost like 13, 14 years of experience in HR fraternity. And my journey was fortunate enough. When I say that, I got exposure to each and every aspect of HR. So whether you talk about, the platform where you hire people till they retire, I was fortunate enough to cater to each and every aspect of it in my entire journey and career. Right now, currently, I am leading the HRBP and HR operations initiatives with Compunnel Inc. All right. When you talk about Compunnel, we guys are basically into consulting, business, and digital transformation wing of it. We serve people across the globe, but our major clientele is basically, in US based. We, as far as headcount is concerned, we are almost a group of like 6,000 plus people in US, and when you talk about India group, almost 2,000 plus. That's how we've been structured. We have few odd people, around 100 so in Philippines, and of course there are in Canada office we also have 50, 100 odd people there. So that's how we have been structured. When you talk about my core contribution towards Compunnel is towards HRBP strategies, all the pulse event that you talk about is my cup of tea here. And also throughout their journey, supporting them with all of their documentation needs, their interaction transactional needs altogether is something that my team takes care of. So when you talk about the overall contributions, it's basically, I would like to call it as heartbeat of the organization, because I help them to manage their talent altogether. And that's I've been doing in the past as well. My even experience is not domain specific, all right. I've been to IT organizations like Sapient and Mosaic ITS, been into financial brokerage houses as well, like Unicorn Investments, and IP industries also that I've touched with effectual services, and I'm fortunate that I am here with Compunal Group. So yeah, that's the way I am here where I am.
That's amazing, Manvi. And what's also interesting is that your journey spans across so many industries, right? So you
Yes.
see media, and then you see IP industry, and then you see the, ITES, or maybe the IT services industry. They're very different, and every industry comes along with a different flavor of challenges, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah. So what I'd love to understand is, how do you navigate challenges, when the going gets tough? And can you give us some examples of maybe certain failures which you've experienced and you've overcome them and what you have learned from them?
This is an interesting one, Smiti. So I don't want to, call them as my failures, to be very honest, because I always believe that, I do not have failures in my life. I have experiences that carry, because those are not my baggages, all right. I have picked up my learnings from them and I've moved out to the next thing altogether, right? But fortunately or unfortunately, because that there are a lot of change in the audience that I have faced, always and always came across with any challenge wherein I'm not able to fit the same sort of framework that I have already worked in my past, all right. So that's a challenge in its own self, right? Catering to the same sort of need but for different audience. I just firmly believe that within an organization, all and each and every team works in their own fashion. All right. So you might be doing one OD intervention. So for example, pulse check, and through one specific service that you might be doing. but you have to, customize it as per those particular teams altogether, because that will give you the real pulse of people. All right, if you do not change as per the audience of people, you will not be able to achieve what you really, started that particular event for. The intentions will not be achieved altogether. So when you talk about navigation, is, it's very important that we should actually have a clear cut difference between people and problems. All right, that's the biggest way through which you can have a better navigation through all the challenges that you have, because at the end, ultimately, Smriti, I believe that we are also humans. All right, we also have our own biases, we also have our own perceptions, assumptions, and all that sort of thing in our unconscious mind. So important thing is to understand your audience, and at the same time, focusing on problems rather than people, so that you can have that particular solutions which is, which is acceptable by everyone, you as a change maker and audience as a change reflectors altogether. So that's how, I have actually navigated through the journey.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful point you made, that if you are the change maker, you can't make the change alone. You have to get everybody's buy-in and everybody's interests aligned together. And I always say that the best solution is where nobody walks off completely happy. Everyone feels that they had to give away something to solve that problem. So
And
yeah,
it is one of the ways to engage them.
yeah.
Unless and until I feel contributed towards one cause, trust me, it is not going to make any impact on me. So I should be feel valued enough for contributing in that particular cause.
No, absolutely right. And you also, of course, you and your team are the heartbeat of the organization today, like you mentioned. But who has been your heartbeat? Like, who has been your biggest supporter or mentor over the course of your career?
So, okay, so I have a thing where, at each and every step you need a mentor, you need a coach, whether you are at executive level, whether you are at any role for that matter, because you might be playing that role for the very first time. So if you noticed, my LinkedIn profile as well, I've mentioned myself as a budding leader. I am not yet reached as a leader. All right, I need some coaching. I definitely need some mentors who can help me, because a lot of things can be naive for me, right? So, yes, I was fortunate to have a lot of mentors in my journey. But specifically, if I have to tell you to answer your question, currently I have majorly important mentors in my current organizations. One of them is my president and CFO, Rakesh Shah. He ensures that he's there with me in my thick and thin. All right, he has given me that leverage to make mistakes. You understand that? That's really important, because unless and until I have the courage to innovate something, courage to implement something, I will not be able to reach and create something new. Yeah, so he has actually ensured that, I have that environment across me, that he's tolerant and enough for me to make mistakes. So Rakesh is one person, and another two important mentors that I really wanted to mention here is, one of them is Himanshu Kumar, and another one is Sam Handa. These two folks have stood by with me in my all the lows, because I call this as my extended family. I must tell you one of the recent thing, that it was my birthday on 10th, all right, and I was in my one of the Chandigarh location, and Rakesh mentioned that you're not celebrating it with your family. And I told him that no, I'm celebrating it with my extended family. And if you looked at it, I joined this organization in just 1.5 years back. But that sort of sense I am carrying, that sort of belongingness I am carrying. So this reflects that the kind of mentors, mentors can help you to create the trajectory of your career. These could be your managers, could be seniors, could be anybody around your ecosystem. All right, but yes, they play a very vital role.
No, you're absolutely right. And I've seen that the the best people who move forward in life have the best mentors, and they're also very open to, feedback, to actually work on themselves and to grow. Because I think the first step on growing is acknowledging the fact that you need scope of improvement in certain parts, which nobody's perfect. So you'll always, even if you become like probably the most influential person or the most influential people in the world, you will still continue growing and you'll still continue learning. So that's amazing, and a big gratitude to all your mentors for helping you and kind of grow
Thank
and bring you where you are today.
Thank you. Yes.
So, you know, let's also talk about employee needs in general. And the world has completely changed. In fact, it's very constantly changing today. What used to work for employees maybe pre 2020 does not work for employees anymore. We've seen so many fads and fashions in HR tech change in the past 4 years. It's been insane. So, because of all of this, I think this is coming from the fact that employee needs are constantly changing. So, how do you think HR leaders should navigate, or what steps they should take to address these changing needs of their employees?
So, Smiti, of course, as far as process is concerned, to implement new changes is different course for each and everybody, depending upon which organizations they are catering to. However, when you talk about the important steps, is something that important thing to know is pulse of people. Okay, and we say this nowadays that pulse checks, but it an important ingredient in that particular pulse is taking is listen to understand. Some of us listen for the sake of it, matlab just ticking up in your to-do list that yes, I'm done with the connect and also and so forth. But it is really really important to listen to understand, because people do share once you give them forums, once you give them platforms that hey, you can talk about anything, what are your goods, what are your lows, they get to open up. Okay, because that safety environment, as I said, is really essential. So once they're speaking about it, you should listen to understand, and based on that, you can churn out everything. So as a recent example, which I am very sure that a lot of organizations are facing, they are asking all of us to come back to office, right? We are converting from work from home to work from office. So, cascading this particular decision and process by saying that, hey, everybody should reach office by tomorrow. Instead of that, have connects with groups, understand, and within groups you will have diversity. You will have people who might be sitting in outskirts of Chennai to the outskirts of Uttarakhand. So give them enough time, understand what they need from you, what they need from their environment to support them to come back to work from office. Because this work from home is sounds good for people, but it is important to let them know that hey, it was a privilege, not your right. Right, so that is also important for HRs to let people know, and them to advocate for people that hey, this particular person or this particular group would need time, time till this time for 1 month, could be 1 month, could be weeks, could be fortnightly. So I think that listen to understand is the key factor that helps them to navigate through all the latest things that we have in our plate. And trust me, Smiti, for every HR, I understand it, the bucket is full floating because of all the XYZ factors. The chat GPT is here. People are insecure about their contributions, their presence. So yeah, that is where HR plays a very crucial role altogether.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think one of the main points which you made here was a two-way communication as well, right? So we always talk about taking feedback from people, which is of course very, very important. But if you are making very major changes in any way you're functioning, it's also important to do like a reverse communication where you're actually explaining what is the impact and why. Say if you're calling people to office, why are you calling them to office? What is the business impact which will help if they are here versus if they are at home? So if you have to make that call, it need not be just a one-sided communication or just a memo which is being sent out to people that okay, from tomorrow you have to come here. It needs to be a two-way communication. There needs to be a consent, or again, everybody might not be happy with it, but at least if you can explain the reasons of what you're doing, it will give a lot of acceptance for employees to be part of that change as well, and come with probably more zeal than what they were doing earlier. So, lastly, I also wanted to understand, like, we're talking about employee experience and engagement and different forms of communication strategies. How have you innovated employee recognition or engagement programs at Compunel to drive a better employee experience?
So, for this particular year, if I have to talk about Smiti, Compunal is focused on overall experience. Okay. When I say overall experience, client experience, and for me, my client is my internal employees. Okay. So, when you talk about all of that, there are important catalysts that I generally prefer. The optimism. Okay. Now, what is that? Creating that positive environment, we always say, right? But what are the key factors that contributed? Optimism is something that you can create by being tolerant. Being tolerant of people making mistakes, encouraging them to accept their mistakes, encouraging them to accepting their scope of improvement areas. All of these things does matter when you are actually talking about engagement. Especially whenever you think of engagement, you think of their training needs as well, right? Improving them, increasing their skill sets, and so on and so forth. But where the acceptance comes in, it will actually be reflective for you, right? So yeah, optimism is one important factor through which we are innovating here. Another thing is safety. As I mentioned, the concept of chat GPT, it's way too broad to talk about. But trust me, in Compunal, everybody has that safe feeling to talk about. And why is that so? Because it's from top to down. People are communicating with people. They have My folks have accessibility to reach out anybody across the organization, starting from Andy to Rakesh to Himanshu to Sam to Amit to Milind, all of those people. They can access to those people, talk about their concerns, talk about their insecurities, all right, about their presence overall, that is not going to go anywhere. Okay. And I think the kind of programs that we are doing, plus and minus, could be related to health, engagement, giving them a platform where they can think about themselves as well, their families as well. And the most crucial part of it is our DNI process. The kind of hiring that we does, the kind of people that I have on board, they are all diversified, trust me, Smriti. Through work from home sort of environment, because of COVID, a lot of organizations have that DNI. Everybody is talking about it. And the overall reason is because we have hired people from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right? So this is the reason. Today, people, you do not have them which are regional based. Okay, they are across from different backgrounds, and regardless of their sexual orientations, regardless of whether they are marital status, single mother, single parent, whatever, they are here because of their talent. They are here because of their skill set. And it is one important part of my COC in Compunal, code of conduct in Compunal, that people have to respect each other. They might have disagreements. Okay, I'm not saying that they should agree that black is auspicious for them and black is not auspicious for them. But what is important for them here is, the important mantra here is to agree to disagree and be respectful in every way. So that is helping me to create that engagement sort of activities as well. It's no more limited to my festival celebrations, all right? But even if a training has to happen, it will happen across the board for all of us, and considering the fact that what is actually needed by us, what is the need of the hour to kill the elephant in the room.
No, that's amazing. And I think the efforts which are being put, especially across diversity, equity, and inclusion, is amazing. And for Compunal, I think it's not just diversity from an India perspective, it's also diversity from a globalized perspective, right? And you go to the
Absolutely.
Philippines, you go to other countries, it's very different in terms of cultures as well. And the flavor of diversity also changes out there. So it's great that the company is so focused on that, along with driving optimism in the company and making people feel secure about their role in the organization. Awesome. And I think we're also at the end of the whole podcast, and I only have the last question. Um, I wanted to understand if you would like to give any piece of advice for the HR leaders of tomorrow, especially from like a woman leader perspective. What would you like to advise them?
So let me start with the woman wala first, all right, Smriti? Because I think so to all the women who are working, all right, it's very complicated for them, okay, to pick and choose their presence, because trust me, everything is important and urgent, and it's overwhelming, okay? So never ever feel guilty. Whether you talk about your domestic course, whether you talk about your professional course, pick up thing which is the need of the hour, kill the elephant without the guilt, okay? That's one piece of advice that I call out for each and every working female, regardless of your role, regardless of your designations, regardless of their presence and contributions across. They are making that difference, and do it without the guilt, you know. And when you talk about HR leaders, I think today, Smiti, we are partnering businesses, okay? We are no more limited to hiring or firing people. We are not limited to just processing payroll of people, doing LNA for people, all right? We are partnering their businesses. And for that, you need to keep on honing your skills up for encouraging curiosity of people. When I say pulse check, do it in a manner which, giving platforms to people where they are encouraged to speak up, right? When you are driving, in sales, we generally have such sort of engagement plans wherein we create campaigns, okay, wherein people can innovate new ideas, define a new way for doing something or the other, and we appreciate them by giving them either vouchers or giving them, planned vacations and so on and so forth. Like, these things have we picked up. So what is the basic agenda of doing all of these things is giving them appreciation and opportunity to have to build up and provide new ideas across. So the curiosity part of it, the new innovation part of it, these such things actually helps one HR to partner more with business, have basic understanding of your business, so that you can partner it, so that you can understand the red flags and the green flags, have an action, have a PDCA for your entire organization, are some of the steps that is required for all of us to do when you talk about understanding the versatility of the challenging competitive environment that we have right now.
No, totally agree. So, curiosity, the hunger to drive innovation, and of course, not being guilty about, doing so many things at the same time. I think that would be the three-pronged mantra by Manvi Bhalla today. So, thank you so much, Manvi, for your time. And this was really, really amazing interacting with you. And I really had a lot of fun listening to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Smriti, especially for this platform where, I can get a platform where people can hear, I can be heard. That's the biggest opportunity for me. Trust me. So thank you so much.